Welcome to the new world of animal allies, the doctors, volunteers, pet owners and other surprising visitors who are out there making a difference. In Animal Doctors, a breeding problem at the Kapama Game Reserve ends in some experimental surgery. While in the UK, animal helper Billy Irvine pays a visit to the Blue Cross Animal Hospital. Need some pointers on grooming a cat? How To has the answers. And in Animal World, the magnificent beluga whale finds a new home in New York. It's another day at work for Doc Rogers. But Doc Rogers is no ordinary vet. His practice is the Kapama Game Reserve in South Africa, and his patients are the wild animals that live there. His consulting room is a spot in the shade. Today he's preparing to treat a leopard with a revolutionary new procedure. South African law dictates that leopards must not breed in captivity. Moholoholo Wildlife Centre has a female that is about to come into season, and so steps need to be taken to stop her becoming pregnant. The leopard will be returned to the wild eventually, which means sterilisation is not an option. A temporary measure is required. Doc Rogers has decided to implant a contraceptive drug. The Kapama Game Reserve is very isolated, and the contraceptive implants, along with other supplies for the game park, arrive by plane.
You got a little parcel for me?
I've got a little parcel for you.
Good stuff. Okay, basically this is just it's a new, like a contraceptive drug we're going to try. A female leopard.
Okay.
Red Moholoholo. It's a little thing just put under the skin. And it's a new product, so we're just going to test it.
With the supplies on board, Doc Rogers returns home to prepare for tomorrow. "5:30 next morning and Doc Rogers is on the road.
Sort of identification anyway, so we're going to try this hormonal stuff and see how it works in an implant. You know, it lasts apparently for a year, so
it has to be followed up every year.
Yeah.
Is that similar to the stuff they've been using on the elephant, experimenting with the elephant?
No, quite. This is it's a little bit different.
Same idea though?
Yeah, same idea. Okay, so I'm going to just start it and then come straight back here. Eh? I'll just get all this stuff together. It's actually easier if you can take the bucky down. It would be, because it's to work on a bit of an elevated platform.
You want to close this here?
Yeah. Okay, I'll be back now.
He wants to do the operation early in the morning, as the heat will be unbearable later in the day.
6 was early enough for you guys.
Doc Rogers has darted the leopard and now has to wait for the drugs to do their job. The leopard's now starting to feel the effect of the anaesthetic.
What do you want to do? Just turn it sideways across here. That's fine, it's like it.
This is how surgery is done in the middle of a South African game reserve. The operating theatre is in the back of a pickup truck. The conditions may be basic, but the surroundings certainly make up for it. Shade is provided as the temperature starts to rise.
Okay. Alright, just pick up by the scruff of her neck and behind her forelegs, around her chest. Your hand there? You got the front, eh?
Yep.
Okay. Put your back. Yeah. Okay, we'll just watch your head. Watch your head. Okay, we'll just cover those eyes. Okay. Just watch the nose is still open. Okay. Right, let's just get on to the bucky.
The patient is transported to the operating theatre.
Lift right onto you. Okay. I'll actually turn it.
The dart containing the drugs must now be removed. The patient is now ready. In Animal Doctors Part 2, we'll be back to see whether the operation is a success.
Billy Irvine, now in his 80s, was once a circus trapeze artist who travelled the world with his late dancer wife Eileen and their 9 children. Billy has always loved animals and has a special affection for dogs. He's kept them all his life and knows from personal experience just how devoted they can be. When Billy's wife Eileen was dying, their dog Ethel never left her side and displayed the ultimate loyalty to its mistress.
When my wife died at 4 o'clock, about 1 minute past 4, the dog died at 7 minutes past.
Just before she died, Billy's wife bought him another dog, Queenie. Queenie is now old and suffering from arthritis, but she's a great comfort to Billy and a precious link to his late wife.
She told me straight that when she bought him, she knew that she wouldn't be long on this earth, and the dog is her way of giving me another companion.
Billy is now on a pension and unable to afford vet's bills. He relies on the Blue Cross Animal Hospital to provide treatment for his ageing companion. Billy and Queenie are ardent supporters of the Blue Cross and take part in many fundraising events for the charity. Billy also helps his friend Jimmy Simpson by taking his dog Tina to the Blue Cross for treatment. Tina and Queenie are great pals.
Jimmy, we've come to take Tina to the Blue Cross for her treatment.
One summer's day, while walking the dogs in a nearby park, Billy experienced once again how loyal animals can be. Despite their infirmity, these 2 elderly dogs heroically waded in to rescue Billy when muggers attacked him.
One of them went to ask me the time, hoping I would do this, and the other one was behind me. And all of a sudden, Tina started growling, and she's only a little dog, as you realise, and she bit one fella in the leg, and Queenie went for the other one and bit him in the hand.
Luckily for Billy, 2 plainclothes police officers were seated in a car nearby and were able to intervene and arrest the muggers.
One fella got 6 months and the other got 12 months, so at least that's 2 muggers out the way for a bit. Hello.
Alright, shall I come through? I'll try not to lose any of them in the door. Right, if you want to stop there for a moment. Is she drinking a lot at the moment?
Yes, quite
she
a lot,
is,
yeah.
Right. And you say she's eating alright, though? Come on, Queenie, there we go. That's it. She's not the lightest dog in the world, is she? Okay, let me just have a little look down. There we go. With arthritis, because it's an inflammation of the joints, the more weight that they carry around, the more painful it is. It's like...
Their regular visit to the Blue Cross over for another week, Billy and the dogs return to Jimmy Simpson's flat to report their progress. It's been a long day and the patients are exhausted. Jimmy and Billy have been friends for many years, but Tina and Queenie have been together nearly all their lives. But thanks to the Blue Cross and their animal helper Billy Irvine, they've had long and happy lives.
To have a bond with any animal is a terrific thing. People can't give you as much love as what a dog can.
After the break, Animal Allies returns to take a close look at the graceful beluga whale. And will Doc Rogers succeed with his pioneering operation?
Cats are fastidious creatures and can care for themselves, but it's still a good idea to groom them regularly. Animal Allies Guide to Grooming a Cat. Frankie is a long-haired Persian cat and his owner James Ascar has brought him in to Dr. Justine Braun for his regular grooming session.
Hello. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. You've got Frankie with you?
Yeah, got Frankie in for
Right.
trim.
Okay.
The growth of fur balls and skin conditions like eczema are common in most cats. Regular visits to the vet or a professional groomer and daily brushing at home can reduce these risks. Dr. Justine prepares Frankie for his trim and administers a mild sedative because most cats get quite agitated.
Okay. And that should take effect within about 10 minutes.
10 minutes later, a very sleepy Frankie is ready to be pampered.
The groom that we're going to do on Frankie today, we call the lion cut. It's basically because we're going to leave his head with long fur and his legs and his tail, and then we clip the rest of his body quite short.
Dr. Justine combs Frankie's fur thoroughly to get all the knots out and starts the long and fiddly trimming process. As the sedative begins to wear off, Frankie starts to wake up, but he doesn't seem to be too distressed. Once trimming's complete, Dr. Justine applies a coat of conditioner, gives Frankie one last brush, and he's ready to go.
Basically, we've left the head long, the legs long, and the tail long, and then we've clipped the body short. So he's left with a bit of a mane. Doesn't change his personality. He hasn't turned into a lion, have you?
So for this week's Animal Allies how-to, brush the cat's coat regularly, particularly during the summer months. Take the cat to a professional groomer or vet every couple of months for a trim. Don't attempt to trim the cat's coat at home. And always check for fleas, ticks and skin conditions when grooming. This is the mystical white whale of the north, the beluga whale. They live at the top of the world in the cold waters around the northern coastlines of Canada and Russia. They're one of the ocean's most endearing mammals and are also known as sea canaries because of their ability to mimic sounds. Whalers used to hunt the beluga for the fine oil that's found in their sonar organs in their melon-shaped foreheads. These whales have one of the most sophisticated biosonar, which they use to scan objects. It's possible to feel the scanning vibrations from the beluga just by standing in front of them. These belugas live in New York's Coney Island Aquarium and don't normally survive long in captivity. But since 1961, the aquarium has managed to maintain a beluga population. Some of the whales here have lived as long as 25 years. The aquarium also achieved another first in the 1990s, when there was not only one, but two successful beluga births. The babies are grey when they're first born, but turn white by the time they're a year old. Seven other beluga whales have been bred in captivity around the world, but none of them have survived more than a few months. These New York babies are a real success story.
Zoos historically have had to be involved in crisis intervention much more than aquariums when it came to captive breeding of endangered wildlife. In recent years, however, more species of aquatic life have become endangered. Freshwater fishes especially, because they have a very limited range and the contamination of a single stream can cause a threat to a whole species. However, aquariums are now getting involved also in breeding not only fishes but marine mammals, and they have been threatened historically because they were hunted for their fur, like sea otters and northern fur seals, but also whales, which were threatened from hunting as well. More recently, the threat to these populations is toxins in their food chain, and we're beginning to see that, especially with the belugas, whales in the St. Lawrence River. And as an indicator species, it's very important to recognize that although we think we've saved whales because we've stopped hunting them, they are now becoming victims of our pollution. And that same pollution, unfortunately, will begin to affect us as well.
The St. Lawrence colony of beluga whales have been found to be suffering from the same pollution-related diseases that affect our own population, like gastric ulcers, brain tumours and many other cancers. This is a serious problem that will have a devastating effect on the 20,000 belugas left in the wild. Scientists have been conducting autopsies on the whales that are washed up. Pierre Bello is the senior research scientist at the St. Lawrence National Institute of Ecotoxicology.
The most striking effect that we have found is cancer. 1/3 of all the whales that we have autopsied, about 80 of them, has a cancer.
Although the Canadian government has recently passed tougher pollution laws and developed a whale recovery plan, policing these new regulations is not easy. Finding another positive solution is one of the main aims behind the New York Aquarium's research. These whales are not for public entertainment, though some of the same training techniques are used to study their behaviour and breeding cycles. Though the New York Aquarium sees a troubled future for the beluga whales, its work, along with the Canadian government's tough new laws, means there's a strong chance that this species will continue to survive.
Back at the outdoor operating theatre, Doc Rogers is just about to begin to implant the contraceptive capsules into the now unconscious leopard.
This is just so she doesn't get any abscesses or anything for me. At the right for me. And let's give it a little bit of atropine as well, just to stop the excess salivation.
It's just to protect the eye so it doesn't dry out or anything while it's under.
Okay, we have to inject quite far back because we're going to put these implants in up here somewhere. So we're going to inject all the injections further back. Okay, you see it's quite a thick needle, eh? Okay, this is the second one. So what we're going to do is inject the first one and then put some of this one into the same needle. Just gonna...
Do you want to work from this side?
That's fine, thanks. I'm next. Yeah, a little spot there.
Hygiene is important when operating outdoors. The contraceptive capsules will dissolve very slowly over a year. They're hormonal and will prevent the leopard from coming on heat. The leopard is checked regularly throughout the operation. Her skin is tough and it is proving to be a battle for Doc Rogers to get the implants in.
There we go. Perfect. 100%.
With both implants now secure, Doc Rogers needs to take a plasma sample to make sure she's not already pregnant.
I'm trying to cut through a jersey.
The plasma sample's temperature sensitive and must be stored in a cool box immediately. It's not every day that Doc Rogers gets the chance to get this close to a leopard. While she's under sedation, he takes the opportunity to give her a full overhaul and checkup.
Okay, here's a vaccine. You're going to vaccinate her as well. Now, being a cat, they're exactly susceptible to, just exactly as susceptible to the normal feline diseases. Okay, we said we were going to deworm her as well. Okay, it's just some deworming stuff under the neck, under the skin of the neck. And then of course we must give her some antibiotics as well.
The operation appears to have been a success. The keepers will have to keep a close eye on her to make sure that she doesn't come on heat. But Doc Rogers is confident that this new treatment will have the desired effect.
There we go.
For Doc Rogers, it has been just another routine day at the office. In the next programme, the new world of animal allies continues. In Australia, Dr. Dario helps a local farmer with some preventative health care. And in Borneo, a group of baby orangutans are winning their fight for survival.